Hey guys. All right. Okay. Hold on. Okay, I think we are live everywhere here. This is one of my first Q&A sessions that I have done in a very long time. So I'm going to start doing this every Thursday. For those of you who are new to me, my name is Tina Marie. I am a mindset and success coach. Hi, thanks for joining, Bird Campos. I'm a mindset success coach for overwhelmed and burnt out employees, or not employees. What am I talking about? Entrepreneurs. Can you tell I need a nap? And so I help them build business models that are profitable, scalable, and also not stressful. So you're not doing everything on your own. I like to help you shift your mindset from an employee to an entrepreneur so you can start making money right away. So today's Q&A is one of my first. So I'm going to start with my top 3 questions that I always get asked. And the very first one, if you have been following me for a while, I like to talk about the law of attraction. Sometimes I have my own resistance to it. But you will hear a lot when you hear about law of attraction is you need to let go and surrender. You need to let go of the how. But I get asked all the time is how do you do that? And I learned a new exercise, a new trick, something new that I wanted to share with you guys. And so a lot of times when we are so attached to the how, so it could be we really want to lose weight but we find ourselves not continuing to work out or eat healthy. Hi, Ratima. Thanks for joining. And so the reason why we stick with that is because whatever that outcome is, we associate it with ourselves in some shape or form, whatever our sense of self. And so when that outcome gets attached to what our sense of self is or who we are, it becomes more of a survival mode. So we hang on to it more. So what we do is create resistance because we are trying to protect ourselves. So when we want to let go of the how, whether it be that how of the outcome or let's say you're trying to let go of anger and think positively or be high vibes, it's really important to not ignore the feelings and shove them down, but acknowledge them, but also separate yourself from the emotion or separate yourself from the outcome or whichever thing that you're holding on to. So for example, if you're holding on to so much about losing those last 2 pounds and not seeing that you have grown and made so many changes, you are not going to be able to remove or let go or surrender and have faith that things are going to work out. So what would be, I'm trying to think of something myself. Oh, so I'll talk about myself. So in the past year, it's my first year on full-time entrepreneurship. I kept pushing to try to be, in my mind, successful and make 6 figures in a month and all these things, actually more like 6 months. But when I did that, I end up letting things slip and not just doing the work. End up being a hamster in a wheel. And that's what I like to teach my clients and future clients, to not do what I did. Because what you end up doing is overworking yourself, not having faith that things are going to work out. And then you either don't follow through, so you're not being in integrity. You're focusing on the wrong things. And so that outcome doesn't come closer to you. So you have to remove whatever sense of self that you have attached to that outcome or attached to that feeling in order for you to let go. The second thing I talked about that I learned is it's really separating yourself, being an outside objector. Thank you. Being an outside objective view of the situation. A lot of times when we're in the situation, we tend to get emotional and mask it as logic. And it's not true. You hear about it with money all the time. And so if you can stop yourself, so let's say you're really angry in a situation, you don't want to be angry, you're told to be high vibed and feel better. What you can do is acknowledge that moment why you're angry, and only not focus on the problem, but focus on what you can do. What was the cause? What was the trigger? And how you can keep yourself from being in that moment. Or, shift that focus of, okay, I'm angry because I feel like this person hurt my feelings. But where could that person be? Maybe they're acting out because they're going through something and it's not personal. So, really pulling yourself outside of the situation, acknowledging those feelings or acknowledging your current situation, but not being lost in those emotions. That's the key points, not being lost in it. Um, so, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to not be where you want to be in your success plan or journey, but it doesn't need to keep you down here. You just got to pull yourself out and figure out, how can I get to where I need to be, and take it one step at a time. So that's the biggest thing about letting go of the how, is it's not easy, but it takes practice. It's really just pulling yourself out of that situation and looking at it from an objective point of view, and not let it be attached to who you are or what your self identity is, because then you're going to create resistance that way. So the second question I get asked all the time, what is it like to be coached, or what is it like to work with a coach? And I often say that the biggest myth about coaching is people expect to be told what to do. They're expecting some kind of guidance in the sense of advice. Coaches don't give advice unless you ask for a specific situation, and what we'll do is give you a general idea of direction you're going. And the best way I can describe it is, if I had a coaching client that said, I don't know which email marketing software system to use, what I would say is, what are your needs when it comes to email software, marketing software? Well, I need this, this, and this. Okay, these are the options out there. Hi, Financial Haven. Thanks for joining. These are the options out here. Which one of these will work best for you? Instead of saying, oh, you need to use this tool or this tool or this tool. I do share the tools that I use, but I also share why I use them for me. They're not always the right answer or the right tool for a client. And that goes for even the mindset work that I work with my clients. I start with every session asking them, what would you like to focus on that's going to bring you value? Because the coachee, you as the client, dictate what the session looks like, dictate what you want to focus on what your goal is to accomplish in that. And, and we do that by exploring through questions. I might ask if they want to use any exercises to work through anything, whether it be brainstorming ideas, whether it be a meditation, or I've been practicing hypnosis. It just really depends. But I always ask you permission. There is no, you should try this, you have to do this, because as a coach, it is my job to empower you to empower yourself, essentially. That you always have the answers in here. I'm just the guide to help you self-realize and self-actualize. And that is my job as a coach. Now, for my business strategy sessions, I make it very clear that that can be consultation. So if you're looking for direct advice, but when it comes to coaching, we don't give direct advice. It's not our job to give you advice or tell you what's wrong or what's right, because only you know what is true and what is right. And so by the end of the session, I'll midsection, if I think we're falling off from the direction that you want, I will check in with you as the client and say, hey, we kind of veered off. This is what I'm seeing. Do you want to focus on continuing on with this subject? Or do you want to go back to what you originally want to? And I leave that up to you. And so you direct the coaching session, but just know that before you ever get into a coaching. So thanks so much. Needed advice for today, going through some of this now. Okay, I'm glad. Yeah, because there's a lot of things going out there, and I wanted to share them. That seems to be a very common question. And so by the end of the session, I will ask you, did we accomplish what you had sought forth in this session? And if not, then what else we can go through, or maybe this is something we can explore in our next session. If it is, then I will ask you, okay, between now and our next session, what would you like to accomplish? That is when you tell me what your action plan is. And if we have an agreement where you would like for me to check in and give you accountability, then I will check in and give you accountability. There is this misconception about accountability that I'm going to pop in there and be like, you need to be doing this. I'm going to follow up and say, hey, did you do this? And then if you say no, I'm going to say why. And then I'm going to ask you, what can you do to accomplish this? And what did we learn from this? Because I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to sit here and hold you accountable, but I'm not going to sit here and make you feel bad for anything. So that's what a coaching session should really look like. And that's what a coaching session will look like with me. And that's why I have 3-month and 6-month programs, because sometimes things don't get fixed. I don't want to say fixed. I feel like that's the wrong word. You won't see results. You won't yield results in one session. And it's really, really important as the client or the coachee that you realize this is a joint relationship, that you both need to show up. You need to be willing to do the work. The coachee the coach is not here to save you or fix you or tell you what you need to do. So you also have to take the responsibility and understand that this is a joint effort and that you need to show up as well. And if you feel you're not ready for coaching, then it's okay to bring it up and say, hey, I don't think coaching is a good modality for me right now. And you can make arrangements with your coach about suspending coaching, whatever arrangement you have with your coach, or see if you can completely terminate the agreement and see if you can come back at a later time. Don't feel bad if you're not ready for coaching, but also look at yourself to see if you have created action plans with your coach and if you actually have followed up and done the action. And you got to ask yourself why. And if you're not, that's a great subject to bring up in your coaching sessions with your coach and see how you can move forward. So so I wanted to talk about that. That's what a coaching session should look like. Hello, do you really enjoy people by Wild Bill 3? Yes, that's why I'm a coach. I really love to help people. That's my purpose, is to take my knowledge and my experience to help other people grow. So that's the second question I get asked a lot. The third question I get asked a lot is, how do I influence or change the mindset of a spouse or partner or family who are not supportive in whatever your endeavors may be? And my biggest answer to that for you all is, you cannot change. I mean, I know there's like books on persuasion and there's books like sales books out there, but my biggest thing is, you can't force someone to change their mindset. It is a form of manipulation. And if you looked at yourself, you wouldn't want someone to manipulate how you thought. That is Admiral, hang in there. Thank you, Wild Bill. But what you can do, and what I find is the biggest thing that helps change people, it's not preaching or lecturing, it's sharing your experience and your story. So you continue to do the inner work, you continue to do the work and show results, show people. A lot of times people are telling you can't do something or not supportive. They're not trying to not be supportive, but that it's a representation of their own stories and their own fears. And it's their way of trying to protect you and make you feel safe. And they may not have had any, examples in their life of success in whatever your endeavors is. I'm going to use starting a business because that's very common with my clientele, my audience. Becoming successful in what you do. Exactly. You have to show the results of what you're doing. So that means you just need to stay on course. Share what you're learning. Share what mistakes you've made. Share, like, this is how I've been making money. I don't know how many, like, when I started this entrepreneurship journey, people that I've followed who are super successful now have said it from the beginning that they didn't have people who were supportive. Their parents weren't supportive, but now they're just in awe of what they can do. You just need to show people that you can do it, and all you really need is have faith in yourself. So keep doing the work. You will end up changing people's mindsets by showing them the results that you got. And if they don't change their mindsets and they're still very negative, it's probably a person that you have outgrown, and it's a toxic relationship that no longer benefits. So if it's a family member, I'm not saying you need to completely exit them out, but it just means reducing the amount of time and exposure you have to those people in your lives. And that is also a very difficult thing for people to handle when they start businesses. They keep themselves from becoming successful because they're worried about outgrowing people. And it's something that I've had to work through. And I realized the right people are going to grow with you. The right people are going to support you. And even if it takes them a while to come around. So don't stress yourself out. Don't worry yourself or stress out about trying to change someone's mind. Just keep going and doing what you're doing. So those are like the top 3 questions I always get asked. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments. It can be anything about mindset, it can be anything about business. That's what I'm here for today. And for those of you just joining, say hello. Thanks for joining. So I'm here on Periscope, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So what has been like the biggest things that you guys have gone through, if you would like to share? So one thing I will share that's not a Q&A, but it's a cautionary tale for all of you who are in business. No matter how big or small you are, please make sure that you have all your legal documents. You're documenting any communications with any customers or clients, that you have all those ducks in a row. You may not think you need them, but you'd be surprised that sometimes things will come up. When it comes to billing, it comes to customer service, protect yourselves. I never thought I was going to have this right now. Hi, Dark Horse. Thanks for joining. I never thought I'd have that, but I'm so glad that I had the foresight and forethought to have contracts in place. And I'm going through currently a dispute. And so the fact that I have everything in order and I have my lawyer in place, don't tell yourself that you don't have. Hi, Doctor. Hey, Stacia, for joining. So don't tell yourself you don't have the money to have the people that you need to have in place. So make sure you have an accountant on retainer or a bookkeeper. Make sure you have that lawyer or someone that you can get templates for your website, for your contracts. Make sure you're taking care of yourself that way. And that includes all your places. So I believe your Facebook page, you can put terms of service and privacy policy on there. Make sure you have one for your website. If you have any other sites that you might host any products like an e-store, or if you sell like courses and stuff on a different website, make sure you have your terms of service and privacy policy updated. I have a series with an attorney called Todd Jarvis. He's local here in Tucson. Really happy we have that connection, and we put out a legal series. So we cover a lot of that. We covered a lot in the contracts. We just did trademarks and copyrights. And the next section, we're doing a bonus with intellectual property. So he has spit some important information there that you need to check. It's on YouTube. I believe the video is on my Facebook page as well. So catch it, even if you catch clippets of it. He really talks about the difference between trademarks and copyrights, and it doesn't matter how big or small you are. Start protecting yourself now. I don't see any more questions, but I'll stay on for another 10 minutes. With that being said, some updates with Profit Project and me is I am upgrading my group program after feedback. I might be changing the name because I got feedback that the name didn't really resonate with what the program was or told them what it was. So I'm going to play around. I'm going to be asking you guys here, either in my coffee chat or here on Instagram stories or Facebook stories, what you think would be a great name for my program. And I will be going live about every day, Monday through Friday, for the next couple of weeks. And on Mondays, we're going to talk all about mindset and mindfulness. Tuesdays, I'm going to talk about some biz tools that you can use for your business to help really streamline and tighten your processes. Wednesdays, we're going to talk about business strategy. Thursdays is ask me anything. So come with your questions. And Fridays is really chill, coffee chat. Come and chat with me, and I talk about the latest things that are going on with me, or we can talk about, I don't really talk about politics too much, but anything that might be trending that's related to business and how you can handle that. I'm going to hop off, but time. Oh, so I usually go live around 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If I am not able to make that time, like I have a meeting that's already pre-scheduled, I usually post at 8 a.m. in the morning, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, if there's a time change each day. But coffee chats for sure, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Friday, and consistently 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every single day. It's a good time for people to pop on. If I get feedback that you need me to come in later or earlier, then we'll play around with that. But that seems to be the best time where I don't have meetings and I can consistently pop on. So thanks for that question, Stacia. So look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for coffee chat. If you popped in later, do catch the replay of my top 3 questions I usually get asked. And don't hesitate, pop into my DMs or comment here for any questions you have that you want me to answer for the next Ask Me Anything for next week. I'm going to go ahead and hop off. I hope you guys all have a great day.